250 years ago, before the Constitution was framed and before a nation declared its dependency on God, God was writing the story for the United States.
From the pilgrims who crossed the Atlantic for the glory of God and the advancement of the Christian faith,
to the Puritans who envisioned a city upon a hill, to a wave of revival that swept the colonies during the First Great Awakening, America's foundations were laid in prayer, conviction, and a hunger for God.
By the mid-1700s, our colonies had grown spiritually weary.
But through the preaching of leaders like Jonathan Edwards, George Whitefield, and John Wesley, hearts were stirred once again.
Churches filled, lives changed. A new fear of God spread across the land and shaped a nation struggling to find its independence.
It is not hyperbole nor exaggeration to say that America is in desperate need of a national revival that gives birth to a third great awakening.
As so many observe, the current events of our day, the outright moral decay, the control and unapologetic lawlessness in the streets.
There is but one antidote, and that is a fresh outpouring of the Holy Spirit once again.
if good articulation, stately buildings, higher education, more charisma, better strategy, or the newest church growth seminar would bring a spiritual shift to this nation and generation, it would already be accomplished.
I would submit, if we ever expect to experience the fruit of the First Great Awakening, we must take our cue from their playbook.
They did not have high-profile preachers, slick advertisement, or crafty campaigns. What they had was altars soaked with tears.
And if the sacred grounds of the First Great Awakenings could speak, they would tell us stories of agonizers, not organizers.
Therefore, we ask you on this 250th birthday of the founding of the United States to join us in this sacred assembly.
A holy convocation to cry out for America.
Let us revisit the altar and ask God once again to visit this nation in fresh Pentecostal power, not solely to get refreshed, nor encounter his presence,
but for a fresh empowerment of the Holy Spirit to fulfill the Great Commission, to reach everyone, everywhere.
Will you make a pilgrimage, not to the sound of gifted communication, but to a holy convocation, a sacred assembly, to fast, to pray, and to cry out for mercy?
And ask for Jesus Christ to once more pour out his Spirit on all flesh, so our sons and daughters would prophesy for fresh empowerment on the church.
As we prepare to gather, America finds herself in yet another historical moment.
History reminds us
that when God's people pray, nations change.
On July 4th, 2026, believers across the country will unite from small towns to large cities and all in between.
To pray, cry out, and seek God's face for a fresh outpouring and the birth of a third great awakening.
On this Independence Day, as we come around the altar for America once again, I ask you today to pray for America.
Believe for awakening and be a part of the story God is still writing.
Join me.
Join me.
Join me.
Join me.
Join me.
Join me.
Join me.